Welcome to this week's episode of Humans in 5.
Recently, researchers from the University of Cape Town and the Natural History Museum of London released a new paper about an old bird. They made some exciting findings that provide bird specialists and curious people like us with new facts about the life cycle of the dodo.
The dodo was a flightless bird species that lived in Mauritius. However, these birds went extinct in the 17th century. As Dutch sailors explored the region, the dodo was hunted, had too much competition for food, and suffered a lot of habitat destruction. Ultimately, they didn't make it through this trying period.
The dodo may have been pushed off this earth by human activities. However, a close and detailed analysis of the bones of the dodo has revealed a world of information. Bones often tell tales about the life cycles of past animals that we can no longer observe. For example, researchers studied bone tissue and calcium deposits to learn more about the molting and reproductive patterns of these long-gone birds.
As much as we can learn from bones, there are still large gaps in our understanding of how past animals lived. For example, we know that dodos didn't fear humans when they first encountered our species, but aside from their environment and their comparative tastiness, we don't know much about how they live day to day.
Some people who study animals that are no longer around occasionally, jokingly, express an interest in being able to watch the creatures they study in the flesh, as people once did with the dodo. Now, this may seem like a distant option. However, researchers occasionally float the idea of bringing past species back to life.
There is a lot of tissue and bone available for the dodo, so genetic information can be obtained for this animal. A close relative of the dodo is still alive today and may help researchers attempt a resurrection of sorts for the dodo. This hypothetical process of using modern genetic techniques to bring extinct animals back to life is called de-extinction.
If this sounds familiar, this is exactly the same idea that drives the film Jurassic Park. As our understanding of genetics improves, the debate on resurrecting extinct species continues to pop up every now and then. There's one obvious pro and a few obvious cons.
As researchers that both take an interest in the past, we can understand wanting to bring extinct animals back to life. We may develop hypotheses based on our observations of modern species. However, there are many things we just cannot observe. For example, we now know more about the dodo's mating season, but we still can't observe mating behavior or courtship rituals.
However, there are several ethical and practical issues with de-extinction. We may be able to bring extinct animals back to life, but we can't necessarily replicate the environment and the climates they once experienced.
If we did get the chance to observe their behavior, we wouldn't really be seeing a true replica of their past lives. For example, their preferred foods might not be available, and their social interactions might be hampered by the number of individuals we create.
There are also ethical issues involved in de-extinction. If we bring extinct animals back, who is responsible for caring for these creatures? Do we have to create wild spaces for them, or do they remain only in captivity? This is an expensive process. Does our curiosity to see past animals outweigh the costs and efforts needed to save creatures that are being driven to extinction today?
These are huge questions that we can't all answer today. But whenever you see extinct animals in the news and wonder why we can't just bring them back to learn more, take a moment to see it from the other side.
Thanks for dodoing around with these two old birds, and we'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
And don't forget to subscribe.